Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. I fixed my camera, so I thought I'd show you my average face to talk about a big thing. It's that time of year again. You know what this means. Banlist prediction season, because the next set comes out next month, a few weeks away, and I feel like this is a very important moment for Bandai, because right now the community seems to be very what's the word here, not emotional, they're very fed up with the current meta. They're tired of seeing the same decks for over a year at this point be most of the lists that we see in our big competitions. They're tired of a lot of things that Bandai is doing. So Bandai, when it comes to this game, Dragon Ball Super, they really need to listen to the community, because who better to tell them what needs to be banned than the players who play their game hours on end every week. But hey, that's just my opinion. Scouring the internet, scouring anywhere I could find to get an idea of what people really want gone from the game, what they want banned, limited, errata, unbanned. Talking with my own team here about what would be great for the meta, great for the game, going forward. Sorry, it's kind of late when I'm recording this, but I really wanted to get this out here because, like I said, we're probably going to get the ban list in a couple weeks, and I really just want to put my 2 cents forward, because you know what? That's just what I'm known for. And I want to talk to you about what cards I think need to be banned, need to be limited to 1, errata, cards that can be unbanned. A lot here. This is going to be a little bit of a longer video, so please, thank you so much for your attention, your support, and let's hop into the video. Alright, and we are starting off with Broly, Crown of Retribution. Sorry, Facebook notification, that's just, unfortunately, I can't figure out how to turn it off. Sorry, I'm illiterate, I guess. Broly, Crown of Retribution has been around for quite a while, and I think it just needs to go away. The fact that a 1-drop can... you could play a 1-drop card that lets you look at your opponent's hand, even if you can't choose anything out of their hand. The fact that you get to look at their hand is ridiculous, especially in the color that is the most aggro of any of the colors. So knowing what your opponent has in hand is too good of an ability for a deck that just wants to go all in, tap, 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 tap. I know you have to have 2 or more energy to play it. Your opponent has to have 2 or more active energy, and this cannot be played by skills. It has to be played from one from hand, but 1 from hand is not a big deal. And most decks will always have at least 2 energy open, because they need to have defenses ready for the kickback. Because that's just what it is. That's just the facts of it. This card, I just think needs to be banned. There's no reason it needs to be around anymore. And yeah, that's the first ban card. Next up, we have Pilaf the Cunning. Now, this is just a placeholder. I think all of the Cunning cards, the ones for red, green, blue, yellow, I don't think black has one, as far as I know. Just go away. This card being a game-lasting effect for 1 that allows you to draw a card, and then essentially blue decks that have the ability to untap energy. Because, well, let me read it to you. When you play this card, draw 1, and then for the duration of the game, if the turn player would use the skill of a battle card or extra card to switch energy to active mode, they can't switch energy to active mode unless they choose 5 cards in their drop and send them to their warp. Late game is probably not a huge deal, but the fact that a 1-cost card with a long game-ending effect, long game effect, even if the card is, removed from the board, the effect still remains. I think these are just awful. Get rid of them. There's no reason that 1 color, blue in particular, should have this many silver bullet cards against it. Which, speaking of, my King Piccolo's underling. This is just another placeholder for any of the silver bullet cards. I know yellow, green, blue, red, all of them. Get rid of them. I do not think it is fair that one color has this many silver bullets printed that are so easy to play with barrier, so they're not easy to get rid of. It's just no, get rid of them. It's not fair unless because there's no other strategy that has silver bullets like this. There's no silver bullets against aggro, like floodgates, but not exactly the same thing. Tapping down cards, as far as I know, there's not any silver bullet to tapping down cards, which would be good for yellow decks or good against yellow decks. But yeah, get rid of it. No more silver bullets. They've been around for too long. Just get rid of them. Next up, we have Swift Retaliation Cooler. Ban it. 100% ban this crap. People will say, oh, well, blue has a counter. Agreed. Blue does have a counter. In fact, we're getting a second one. Blue players are getting a second one with the Goku Black Ultimate deck. But the blue players their counters cost 5. This costs 6. And I know, not 6, sorry, 3. I doubled it for some reason. Yeah, blue decks have energy manipulation. But this is just too damn easy. This game literally helps yellow, secure their win. You play this, it stops in a gate. When you play, then they get to play it, draw one, and then if there's more than 6 cards in rest mode on your opponent's board, well, on your board, the player of Cooler, you get to draw another card. So essentially, it's a draw 2, 15k body, then negates and negate. It's a game ender. I feel like this card needs to be banned because limiting it's not going to do anything. Most people only play 1 to 2 copies of this anyway, and they still win games with it. Get rid of it, 100%. Next, we have Zeno Universal Control. This one is kind of in the middle, because I think this card completely destroys the new Goku Black Ultimate Deck archetype, because it's essentially a board wipe of gods ignoring barrier. It's a 1-drop if you have 3 or more energy, so it's super easy to play. If your leader is a red, great the rest of it doesn't matter. It's the 1-drop. It's an activate main for 1. If you have 3 or more energy, you can play this card from hand. When this card is played, choose up to 12 of your opponent's battle cards with God or Universe in their specific traits, ignoring barrier, negate their indestructible skills, and remove them from the game. This really is not... No one's going to be playing this many gods in their deck, unless they're trying to play Great Priest, which no one in their right mind would play that. But then the Goku Black deck, it gets around the barrier, it gets around the indestructible. Why? Why did they create a promo that literally just shuts down an entire new archetype? I don't think it should be banned, but I think it should absolutely be limited to 1 at the very least. We'll have to see, but like the new Goku Black deck will never shine if this card exists. So this is kind of I think it needs to be banned, but at least limit it to 1. So that's all the bans I have for this list. Let's talk about the limits. SS4 Vegeta, Rise of the Super Warrior. Now, I do not think this card should be banned. At the very least, I think this card needs to be limited to just 1 per deck. Because the ability, I know some people have been able to play 1 and then literally play a second one based off of the amount of energy they ramp. Like I said, I don't want it to be banned, but limiting it to 1 I think is perfectly fair. Because I know there are going to be some people that are like, oh, he's a blue player, he won't touch blue cards. No, I will. I'll absolutely talk about blue cards. Or this card needs to be limited to errata to working only with the SS4 Vegeta leader. I'm fine with that too. But if they want to keep it universally, playable in blue, limit it to 1. I think that is completely fair. Next on that limit train is SS2 Trunks Future on the Line. I think Trunks Vegeta, this card is one of the best cards in the Trunks Vegeta deck. It essentially is the yellow version of Poutine. It is, it's solid. Barrier, Blocker. When this card is using EX Evolve, you can switch to active mode, so you can swing with the Trunks under it, play this, switch it back to active mode. If your leader is a yellow Trunks future card, when your opponent plays a battle card in Unison, choose it to switch it to rest mode. So it's Unison or battle card. It can block for, yeah, sorry. Like I said, it's super late. I apologize. It can block with 19k power. That's a pretty decent blocker. I just think this card, I don't want to ban it. Obviously, it's one of Trunks Cheetah's best cards, but I do believe it should be limited to 1 per deck. Switch it up a little bit. We got to hurt these top 4 leaders. If we're not going to ban them, we got to nerf them some way. And speaking of which, let's go SS4 Son Goku preparing to brawl, and this is going to be alongside the Vegeta preparing to brawl. These are essentially the Pot of Greed cards for the red SS4 Gogeta deck. Limit them both to 1 per deck. That way, your opponent can't just combo these, play them, and essentially draw 2 per turn, or even draw 3 per turn, with the leader ability and this. Limiting them to 1, I think, is perfectly fair. It means they just can't keep spamming these guys. I don't see how anybody can be like, no, that's going too far. No, these 2 cards can absolutely be limited. I forgot to talk about Dark Power Black Mass Saiyan. This card, ban it, 100%. I know it messes a lot with the Android 21 cards. It's been around for a long time. Just get rid of it at this point. That's all. A card I wouldn't be... This one's a tough one. I don't want to limit it because we're already... Sin Shenron has been hit by banning the Hey Shenron, which is good. It didn't need to exist. This card is, in my opinion, overtuned. Being able to play for 1, which is super simple, to get that 6Z energy. You draw 1, and then play a 20k double striker from board. And then when this card is played, when this card attacks, you can KO a Shadow Dragon, and then choose it to 1 of battle card of Unison and get minus 20k. So this card, in tandem with the Nova Shenron or the Ice Shenron, you can activate their abilities by KOing them, and then you get to KO something minus 20k on the board. It's nuts. Now, you know what? I'm going to go crazy. I want this limited to 1. There's no reason that an aggro deck like this should be able to get a 1-drop 20k double striker that KOs something. Hell no. Absolutely not. Next, we have Super Saiyan Son Gohan defeating the Demon. This is one of the 2 new promos that is absolutely messing with the meta. After Sin and Gogeta got proper nerfs, Sin's nerf was much better. Gohan came out and completely just reversed that. Gohan's ability to be played for 1 less for each Z energy you have is just ridiculously good in Sin. A 4-drop is now just simply a 1-drop. It's a 1-drop body that it's a counterplay. You play this card, you can choose it to 1 of your opponent's battle cards, and it gets minus 20k power for the turn. It's a blocker as well, and it's a double strike. What? That is absolutely insane. I think this card should absolutely be limited to 1. It is a way too good of a card to be able to run 4 of, especially in Sin and Gogeta. Absolutely not. And honestly, same with the Sin Shenron Negative Energy Animus. 2 amazing red promos, one specifically for Sin and one that just works better in Sin. Cards busted. Like, it definitely seems to be a placeholder to make up for the fact that Hey Shenron is now gone. It doesn't do what Hey Shenron did, thankfully. But a 19k blocker, you can, if for 1 energy activate main, if your leader is a red Shadow Dragon and your leader is a Z leader, or you have 6 or more Z energy, add up to 1 card from your life to your hand, and then play this card. So easy to drop for 1. It takes a life, so you can get closer to your 3 life to play your Z leader. And once again, all you have to have is 6 Z energy, which is super simple in Sin. It's the cracked Dragonballs, man. Card is nuts. Limit it to 1. Because the reason I'm hitting a lot of these cards in particular is because I don't want the leaders to be banned. I hate when leaders get banned. But if it comes down to it, fine. Ban the leaders. I've talked about it on previous videos. I think they all should be banned. I think it's the simpler route. But I'm trying to play devil's advocate here. I'm trying to be like, you know what? If you don't want the leaders to be banned, then you have to hit their cards. You have to hit a lot of their core, cards for their deck, or else they're going to remain overpowered. So it's either ban the leaders or severely nerf the deck in other ways. You really only get those two options. So I'm trying to build this list as if these leaders are not going to be banned. But we have to nerf the cards in the deck. So that's what I'm doing. Next, we have Android 17 Defending Friends. This card is absolutely cracked. It is the best Floodgate in blue right now. And this one I'm very torn on because I don't think it needs to be banned or even limited. Because you have to have the 3 or more Z energy. And sometimes blue is not the best at charging Z energy. Certain decks, with like the Gamma, with the Android 17, 18 Unison are much easier to ramp. So maybe in that, but I wish they'd like limit 2, like cards that you can only have run 2 of in a deck. This card I think is a problem, absolutely. But it's not the worst Floodgate in the world. So if it came down to this card being limited to 1, that's not the worst thing in the world. I don't think it needs to, but it's a tough one. For consistency's sake, let's say limit it to 1. You happy? All right, and finally on the limit list, we have Omega Shenron Unfeeling Retribution. This card, it's so damn good. Like I said, Sin and Gogeta need to be taken down a peg, and we gotta hit their boss monsters to do so if we're not going to ban the leader. It's a 30k triple strike with deflect. This card's power will be reduced. You get additional 5k instead until the start of their next turn. It can be played for 2 if your leader is a red Shadow Dragon or a red Z leader. So this can be thrown into like Vegito, which is super cool, or any red leader that has a Z leader. This can be used. And you have 3 or more energy. Super quick to be able to play this card. Activate battle is choose up to one of your one battle card or 1 unison. And it gets minus 3k power for the turn for each of my Z energy. Additionally, if my leader is a Z leader, choose up to one of my opponent's battle cards or unisons, and it gets minus 30k for the turn. It is a limit 1 on its ability to be played for 2. That is fine and dandy. I still think it is way too broken, especially since the Z leader can play another one. So that gets around the whole limit 1 for 2 as 2 energy. I think this card needs to be limited. Just the one. Just have the 1 boss monster. And I know people, I'm looking back on this list, and yeah, I can definitely tell people are going to be like, are you crazy? You're limiting all the boss monsters. Well, it's like, I don't know, what else can you do, man? Like, this thing has deflect, so it can't be counterplayed. It doesn't have barrier, which is fine, which is good. If it had barrier, that'd be nuts. So maybe not limit this, but I don't know. It needs some type of hit. Maybe unique. That's it. That's it, right there. Okay. You know what? We're not limiting this. Put unique on it. So you can't play more than 1 at a time, which I think is what a huge problem in Sin is. So it's unique. Let's start with the errata list. That's a good idea. Mecha Frieza Robotic Riposte. I think this needs to be errataed so that it only counts extra cards that are in the drop area, not your energy. It is one of the only floodgates that came out around that same time, like the Topo. Can't think of other floodgates right now that requires. Dorm Potential, I guess, also came around that time. But this one, it can be played for 1. Most of the other like battle card floodgates, the lowest was 2. Especially when you can stack this card multiple times a turn. Getting like 2 of these on a single turn is awful, and it is a turn ender. I think it needs to be errataed to either only count extra cards in drop area, or it needs to be errata to have unique. So you can only be played once, like you only have one on board at a time, or limit one. You know, I'm giving you options. I'm not gonna say like, can't, you know, just get, yeah, I'm giving you options. So take your pick. Let me know in the comments down below what you think. Please, I would love to hear your guys' thoughts and opinions. SS4 Gogeta, triumphant together, needs an errata. It needs to be targetable. It needs to allow negates, if anything. The fact that this card can be played, yes, I understand Dirty Burst and certain cards can stop it in its tracks, but the fact that there's a triple strike that can attack your cards in active mode with the Gogeta's leader ability, and just restand and keep swinging at your entire board, and all you can do is activate super combos against it, I think is nuts. It needs some type of errata to where it can be targeted by negates or floodgates or something, because dear God, no, this card is cracked. And yes, it has, it's like I said, Dirty Burst is this thing's worst nightmare, which I'm a blue player, so I get it. This card isn't that big of a deal if I'm playing with blue, but if it's any other color, that's not fair. Like this card needs some type of hit. It needs to allow negates. Maybe it can only be negated by, like, I don't know. I just think it needs to be allowed. Like, negates need to be allowed against it. That's all I'm saying. Maybe like negate battle cards can stop it, or something like that. But like not negate extra cards, but you can only negate it with battle cards that have negate attack. Or limit it to one per deck, you know? Leave it alone, but you only get one copy of it. It's like your Seeker Rare. So, that's one option I have. And I think to wrap up the errata list is Cell Zeno Unspeakable Abomination. This card is absolutely nuts. And I get it. It has successor, a very specific successor cost of 12. It also can't do its absolute redonkulous crackback, you know, dual attack quad strike, but until turn 5. But the problem is, it's still, certain decks it's incredibly simple to play in. Go tanks, new yellow Majin Vegeta, it's absolutely nuts. You know, no, like just get rid of it. Like not get rid of it. Sorry, I'm talking ahead of going ahead of myself. There needs to be an energy cost requirement with it. I think 2 energy. Like they can be colorless. I'm not gonna say like it has to be 1 red and it has to be 1 yellow, 1 green. Just make 2 energy requirement cost on top of the successor. I think that's fair, at least in my opinion. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Alright, next, these are the cards I think need to be removed from the ban list. And there's only 2 of them. And that is, the first one is Bardock the Progenitor. Unban this and errata it to only work with Goku's lineage leaders. This would be such a cool tech card for Goku's lineage decks, because we are going to get Goku's lineage support, because I did see in Zenkai Set 5 promos that they released for like a day, and there's a Goku Jr. there, so I'm pretty sure there's going to be a Goku's lineage support. This would be a great card to throw into Goku Jr. deck. Even though we do have a Bardock that is similar to this, it is not as good as this. Bring this back, errata it to Goku's lineage leaders only. I think that is perfectly fair. And then Plan for Destruction. I think this card needs to be unbanned, because the new Goku Black deck needs that extra support. Especially if they aren't going to do anything with the Zeno. I don't know why my nose is itchy. If they're not going to do anything with the Zeno tournament promo, this card really could help. Limit it to 1 per deck. Unban it, limit it to 1. It is a single-use card. And then, like, remove it from the game afterwards. I think... Or wait, hold on. This is... Oh, I'm sorry. This is the card that gets placed in your energy. I'm sorry. It's been a while. But, yeah, I think this card should be unbanned, limit it to 1. I think that is perfectly fine. I think the Goku Black players will love this. I almost forgot the Z-Battle cards that I wanted to talk about. Rush Attack Vegeta needs to be limited to 1 in the Z deck. The fact that this card can wipe out the Goku Black deck, or anything with Indestructible, is essentially a dual attack with Double Strike, and that can get Barrier. Well, sorry, and can get Double Strike, and can get Barrier, and KO 2 cards 15k or less, or 1 card that's 30k or less. Nutty. Just, no. Ban it, and it can recharge Z energy too. So don't ban it. Limit it to 1 per deck. Limit to 1 per Z deck. So when you use it, it's done. You're moving on to the next card. And you know what? I will keep that same energy with Cell, Awakening of the Created. Limit this to 1 as well for blue decks. I run this card and I know it's an absolute monster. So, yep, limit this to 1, please. Last 2 cards, I promise. Omega Shenron, Merciless Negativity, needs to require at least 1 energy to awaken. I don't know why this was the only Z leader at the time that didn't require any energy to awaken. I think in that with the Gogeta leader too. Or it needs to not allow the cracked Dragon Balls to count towards the cost requirement, of the 7Z energy. One of those 2. Because that would definitely help bring down the deck a little bit to be more meta. More stable meta, And finally, SS4 Gogeta, the Ultimate Fusion. This needs to be, 1, I feel like it needs to have an energy requirement, and 2, it needs to not be able to be awakened on defense. I cannot tell you how many times where I've gone in and they may awaken, like I go in for the turn kill, and then they awaken this on their defense. So it's like, well, I cannot get around 100k on, while I'm defending. Yes, I've made them waste their card. I made them waste their Z leader. But it's... No, I just think it's ridiculous of a card. 100k power. What the hell were they thinking? But yeah, that is my list. One more card, actually. Errata Soul Striker. There is no reason this card needed to lose its Awaken at Early Awaken if you have a 3 or of a unison with a cost specified 3 or more. There's no reason, especially now. Unless Gamma gets banned, then... Well, especially if Gamma gets banned. We need a good blue leader after this, and Soul Striker is probably going to be the next best bet, in my opinion. But, yeah, I think we should lose the errata and bring it to its original text. Because, son of a bitch, I bought this card out of the collector's binder, and then they errata it 2 weeks later. God damn it. But anyway, guys, that's my video. It is a super long one, so I really appreciate you guys checking it out. If you did make it to the end, let me know your thoughts and opinions in the comments down below. Like I said, I'm trying to be reasonable. This ban list was if the leaders are not getting banned, then the cards in the decks need to be hit. If the leaders are staying, the cards need to be hit. It's simple as that. It's either ban the leaders or nerf or limit or ban the cards in the deck. That's really it. So, thank you guys so much once again for checking out the video, and I will see you on the next one. Take care.